Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Reality radio for a really great future. We're talking real money.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Friday Talking Real Money daily podcast for Friday, the last Friday of March 2019. I'm Don McDonald. Thanks for listening. Glad you're out there. Please tell a friend. Please tell a friend. This show could save their life, or at least a little bit of it, because so much of our lives relies on money. It's really important stuff. That's why we talk about it 5 days a week, most of the time, unless I'm on vacation or traveling or something. 855-935-TALK is our phone number. You can call that number anytime with your questions, and we will feature a question or maybe two in each daily edition of the podcast. Plus, we take calls live on Saturdays from 3 until 5 Eastern, noon to 2 Pacific at 855-935-TALK when we do our live show in Seattle. Today, one of my least favorite financial topics, and yet one that so many of you find yourself dealing in, real estate. I was looking at Apple Podcasts, and of the top 100 investing podcasts on Apple's service, which is the biggest, about 30% of the top 100 podcasts espouse real estate investing in homes, flipping, apartment buildings, even mobile homes, and all of them are almost evangelical in their fervor for buying real estate, and yet every single one of them, when you peel back all the layers, is selling you something that's making them money. It's not that they're making the money in real estate. It's that they're making the money telling you how to invest in real estate. And there have been so many of these over the years. You know, the late night television people, and then they go to jail. A lot of them go to jail. Not enough of them go to jail, apparently, but some of them go to jail for making outrageous promises. You know, there were those young people from Florida whose names I can't remember, husband and wife couple who pretended they owned private aircraft and yachts and all this because they would just rent them for the day to do a photo shoot. They went to jail. Charles Givens, he got in trouble and then he died. There's all these guys who did all these scams. And if you look, there are all these podcasts, real estate investing for cash flow, mobile home park investing. There's actually a podcast and it ranks number 15. Some of these things like Bigger Pockets and, some of the popular ones, they're all pushing real estate. And then there was this guy. He used to be on Fox News on the weekends, Fox and Friends weekends, and he still hosts a podcast called Investing in Real Estate. His name is Clayton Morris, and he runs a company called Morris Invest, and the New York Times did a scathing piece on him. He's being sued by more than 24 customers, almost 24 customers right now. It's probably more by now, because he advertised these great deals that you send him money, he's going to get you these great properties, these undervalued properties in depressed areas, and you're going to make a lot of money. Well, it turned out not to be true. But he was evangelical in his fervor. You know, some of these folks got an empty lot. One guy bought a house that had just burned down. They're really depressed houses, and they were getting into deals that one person in the industry called incestuous. A guy who wrote a research paper for the Department of Housing and Urban Development, Philip Garbodin from the University of Hawaii in Manoa, he said that people are being exploited by this, he called it an evangelical process that plays down the risks of investing in this real estate. And he called the contractor, the property manager, the whole thing, he calls it an incestuous network. And it's all these people scamming you. And really, you, even if you can't point out, you can't pinpoint the exact problem, you've got to know there's something wrong with these deals. With almost every one of these real estate deals, think about it logically for a minute. Go out in your neighborhood and tell me how easy it is to find a house that is selling for less than it's really worth that you can just turn around and flip the next day for a big profit. Really? Think about it. Talk about evangelical. You can't do it, right? Oh, sure, every once in a while, maybe a really great bargain crops up, but who's going to find it before you? Who is the person? Who are the people who are going to find that great deal before you can get at it? Oh, yeah, real estate agents. Yep, they'll know before you will know. You're not an insider, unless you want to be a real estate agent and then hope for that occasional thing that crops up. But I know a lot of real estate agents. I mean, who among us does not? You know, I probably know 30, 40 real estate agents that are friends. And not one of them is getting rich flipping houses. As a matter of fact, there were a couple of folks I knew very, very well. One of them was a general, a retired general. He and his wife owned a real estate firm, and they bought, about 20 houses with nothing or very little down. And were making great money for a while flipping them. Do you know when they were making great money? I'll just give you a hint. It was a little over a decade ago. Yeah, they had all these properties that they were heavily leveraged into, and they were making money until, guess which year? Oh, yeah, 2008, 2009, when prices plunged, and all of their equity, all of it, the little tiny bit they put down, disappeared, and they were what they call upside down in these properties, and they had to keep making the payments on these houses, which they could no longer do. They weren't counting on making payments. They were counting on flipping them instantly or close to instantly for a big profit. That's not the way it works. You know, the only way real estate investing works for you is if you are a contractor or you got a ton of time on your hands, or you want to run a business. There is no such thing as passive wealth from real estate. And I wish somebody would shut down all of these idiots, you know, these coaches. Real estate financial independence, you liars. You're just bald-faced liars. This guy, his name is Clayton Morris, used to be on Fox. He runs a company called Morris Invest, and you're just supposed to send him money, and then he'll handle all the details. He'll find the property. He'll oversee the renovations. He'll hire the property managers and get them rented out. All you had to do is wait for checks to arrive. Well, he helped people buy over 1,000 properties, and he made over $5 million in referral fees and profits on the sales. His clients, not so much. One guy put $40,000 with Mr. Morris, and he got what the New York Times called a ramshackle home that was in such bad shape, he just kept getting fines from the city and nobody would rent it. People are claiming losses of hundreds of thousands of dollars. Sound familiar? This is what happens every time someone promises you lots of money with little or no risk. Real estate investing, passive real estate investing, does not exist. You're either active or you're going to get taken. 855-935-TALK is our phone number, 855-935-8255. And you may not get taken right away. The lovely thing about most of these for the promoters is that they last a while. They can last for years. Rarely do these deals work out for the client. And in the long run, sometimes they don't even work out for the promoter. And I hope that's what happens in Mr. Morris's case. And we do have a phone call, and let's go there now.
Hello, I'm wondering what you think of the Target Maturity Corporate Bond ETFs for someone in retirement that you could ladder and use instead of, let's say, a bond fund? Be interested in knowing your impression. I read an article in Morningstar about these, and they had both the Invesco Bullet Shares and the iShares iBonds. So just wanted to get your impression. So thank you.
The mutual fund business is really, really good at building products that you don't really need. These are another example. Target date corporate bond funds, or ETFs. What they do is they try to buy bonds that will mature within a set amount of time. For example, a 2021 fund will have 2-year bonds, or bonds that should mature in about 2 years. It's rough, give or take. And, of course, they charge a fee for that. The fee's not terrible in the case of Invesco or iShares. It's not bad. It's around 0.1% because this isn't a very difficult job, buying corporate bonds. But I looked at these, and I looked at the quality of the bonds. I also looked at the yield and the quality of the bonds. The yield on these things for a 2-year portfolio is right around 2.7%, give or take. And, of course, there are fees and expenses associated with that. There are commissions internally associated with that you don't even see, spreads and the like. But I wanted to see what kind of safety undergirded those bonds. How good a quality are we looking at? And curiously, somewhere around half of the bonds are rated BBB or lower. BBB is the very, very bottom of what is called investment grade. If there is a serious recession, a number of BBB bonds are going to get into trouble. It's just going to happen. That's why they're rated BBB and not A. So you have risk. You have risk of actual default on some of those bonds. You have risk of substantial losses in an economic downturn. You probably don't, if you're laddering, you're probably laddering money that you don't want to put at any risk. So what would you get if you just laddered money in a risk-free investment? Oh, let's say CDs. And you wanted a ladder out to 2 years. All you have to do, go to Bankrate.com. And I'm looking at Goldman Sachs paying 2.75% on a 1-year CD. I'm looking at Capital One paying 2.8% on a 2-year CD. That's more money, and that's more money with less risk. Look at a 5-year from Capital One or Goldman Sachs. They're FDIC insured, 3.1%. So if you got a 1-year, a 2-year, and a 3-year, you got a 3-year ladder, your average rate is about 2.8%, 2.9, 2.85%. You're making more money, and you're taking less risk. So why would you want the complexity of the ETFs and the higher expenses of the ETF and the lower return of the ETFs and the higher risk of the ETFs? Not working for me. Go ladder CDs. We don't need to make it any more difficult than it already is. That's why I keep saying investing is too simple to be this complicated. We make it more complicated. Wall Street certainly makes it more complicated because they have a vested interest in complexity. With complexity comes a need for their services. The less complex it is, the less you need somebody explaining it to you. Keep it simple. Okay? 855-935-TALK, the number 855-935-8255. Just to let you show listeners know, Tom's doing the show alone tomorrow, so please help him out. Give him a call at 855-935-TALK between noon and 2 Pacific, 3 and 5 Eastern time. He'd love the company because I won't be there. I'm going to a wedding because my wife is making me. You know how that goes, right? I hardly know these people, but she loves the weddings, so I'll be at a wedding tomorrow afternoon. Give us a call anytime, 855-935-TALK. Subscribe to the podcast, please, 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 on iTunes or Apple Podcasts particularly, because that's the 800-pound gorilla in the market. And please tell your friends and keep listening every single day to Talking Real Money Daily. Take good care. Have a great weekend. I'm Don McDonald.
Talking Real Money. We hope you realize that the information provided on Talking Real Money is for educational and hopefully enjoyable purposes only. Providing personalized financial planning or investing advice takes time, so please consult with a really good fee-only fiduciary investment, tax, or legal advisor. We know a good one. Investing must always involve risk. In other words, you can and probably will lose money at times. Also, as much as you want it, no one can accurately, consistently predict the future. So, past performance doesn't tell you a darn thing about what the future will bring. Unlike many other programs that say something similar, Talking Real Money is not trying to get you to buy or sell any financial products or securities. Instead, the program is provided as a public service by Vestry, a fee-only registered investment advisor. Thanks for listening, and please visit TalkingRealMoney.com for more information and disclosures. That should keep the lawyers happy.